A young mother, just 24 years old, gone without a trace. Top stories coming up, including the big game.
Yes.
But whether you're a Tar Heel fan or a Wolfpack fan, will you be a fan of this weather? Organizers say there are some things you can do to help yourself. You've heard some of them. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Don't let music drown out your surroundings. You can also try running in groups or with a partner. Jackie, 18-year-old Shannon Nyamati, seen right here, and a 15-year-old girl have both been charged with attempted first-degree murder. The Franklin County Sheriff wouldn't go into detail, but did say the mastermind, as he called it, is someone who lived at the home. Mike, thanks a lot. Chapel Hill's town manager is releasing his report on the arrest of demonstrators who occupied a vacant car dealership on Franklin Street. Police made those arrests after a group entered the property without permission back in November. That led to several complaints about police being heavy-handed. The wind has appeared to pick up within the last hour or so. It was a beautiful day here at Wrightsville Beach, but it's turned into a potentially dangerous night. Emergency crews are here on the scene right now, and so are search and rescue crews. Take a look at this video. You can see a chopper in the air. And Bill, police confirming for us this noon that missing persons investigation, the shooting death, and the fire could all be related. They wouldn't go into detail. However, they're hoping some detail from the public could lead to closure for this family. Ken, this is no fishtail, no fishtail at all. You know, you're just a click away from a family that came feet away from a shark. You know, this family combined, they have more than 80 years of fishing experience, and nothing, I do mean nothing, prepared them for this. For this family, fishing has become a place of refuge and relaxation.
You got time to think about everything going on in your life, and you put everything behind you.
It's just what the doctor ordered for Van Hughes. He suffered a heart attack just a few weeks ago. But what happened while fishing had several hearts racing. Hughes was vacationing in Myrtle Beach with his family, including daughter Sarah Brame and her fiance Will Moore.
Like every other year, you know, we go out there and we, you know, go to the beach.
I was getting ready to go to the mall, and I seen the pole go off, and I was like, well, let me catch a fish.
Lo and behold, there it is. Big old shark comes up and just grabs it and just takes off with it.
And I caught something a whole lot bigger than I expected.
Jaws was waiting on him.
It's a shark!
It's a shark! A shark!
And everybody always talks about a fish tail. You know, when somebody comes back and tells you, you know, the fish is this big, but he's exaggerating to this big. So it's always a fish tail. But at least we got ours on camera. Oh, I got that on camera!
Now this fishtail has gone viral. Since posting it on YouTube less than a week ago, nearly 8 million people have seen this clip. For Sarah, the one who almost reeled in the big one,
I never expected it to go this far.
It's still scary, that joker being 3 foot from you.
So what do you do after you come so close to a shark? You look for it on a boat.
Anything big and smack him and let him go. Say, gotcha.
Thankfully, no one was hurt. And despite the one that got away,
Big Willie.
Will says his biggest catch was reeling in his fiance.
This one ain't getting away. This one ain't getting away. This one's mine.
You better keep some good bait on that hook.
This is quite the family, I tell you how much, you know. They're already talking about next year's trip and how they plan on topping this trip, kid. Will and Sarah, they're still planning their wedding, as long as he keeps that good bait.
I'm trying to tell you.
But they're talking about some sort of theme that involves fishing. Can you blame them?
I like it. No, we can't blame him. Kevin, great job on that story.
It's a perfectly legal move. Turning left on a flashing yellow arrow or light. So why does Howard Bond's family keep getting tickets in the mail from the town of Cary?
My son keeps getting these tickets in Cary, and the red light, safe light tickets, and they're wrong.
Just don't take his word for it.
Oh, the video speaks for itself.
That's right, there's video.
Video speaks, it's amazing. You see it and you're like, oh, come on.
And although Howard Bond says it speaks, he feels his concerns are falling on deaf ears.
It needs to be stopped.
Bond says at least 2 tickets have been mailed to his home for this perfectly legal maneuver at $50 a piece. And the town of Cary admits he's not alone in this traffic troubles.
And I wonder how many people's gotten these tickets and just decided, you know, sent the $50 check off, they're done with it. But no, if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Right, says Cary Police Major Tony Godwin. Police officials admit there have been complaints and problems with other cameras in the town. Godwin says this is the first one they've heard about at this intersection, High House Road and Cary Parkway. His hope is that it's the last.
Since we have become aware of this today, we're going to go back internally and pull as many of those videos as we can and take a look at them and see if there are any others that have been issued in there. And
an error that could be costly. Bond's message for police.
Come on, you guys are the good guys. Don't be the bad guys.
And he says drivers, don't think you've made a bad decision and failed to follow the rules of the road.
I think a lot of folks have probably gotten the tickets and paid it, not wanting to go through the whole hassle, and thought maybe they got over light because they didn't have court costs and all that.
A problem Bond says needs to stop. Kevin Holmes, WRAL News, Cary. They're doing more than talking the talk. They're walking the walk.
No, we're going to run the run.
On the American Tobacco Trail. Dan Hudgens and about 24 others on the first of what's to become a weekly event, at least for the month of September. Since January, there have been 11 attacks on this trail. Durham Councilman Steve Schul says he sees police patrolling the trails, but residents need to help. That's the purpose of this gathering.
It's a great resource for Durham, and it would be a real shame if it got to a point where people didn't feel safe using it anymore.
Organizers say there are some things you can do to help yourself. You've heard some of them. Make sure you're aware of your surroundings. Don't let music drown out your surroundings. You can also try running in groups or with a partner.
I think numbers always help, so in some ways running as a family might make us a little bit safer.
The community is determined to make it a safe place for families and individuals to spend time and to participate.
Small steps, or in this case, brisk walks and jogs, taken to let the attackers know this community is on the lookout. Kevin Holmes, WRAL News, Durham.
WRAL's Kevin Holmes at the Highway Patrol office, looking distracted right now. Kevin, pay attention to us. Hello. With a look at what troopers have planned for today. Kevin?
Sorry, I was busy texting. You know, everybody sends a text message. In fact, Bill, I was sending a text message to you. Everyone knows about texting. Some of the most common languages when we're talking about texting, LOL. But this is no laughing matter, because if you're found texting while driving, you can pay an FINE. The Durham Crisis Response Center sees about 20 people each day. That's 140 a week, more than 7,000 folks a year. Some years ago, Bessie Elmore called for help. In an abusive relationship with her then husband, she left with only a quarter to her name.
And with that 25 cents, I called the crisis line. So it means everything to me.
Down to her last quarter, now the center is down to its last in funding. This building, plus the one that houses abuse victims, are in dire need of repairs. State and federal funding has been cut. There are holes in the foundation. The roof is collapsing. Water damage throughout. Electrical problems. Even the floor is rotting. That's not all. Bugs and critters have made their way into this office space. That's because this is now an open air space. What do I mean by that? Well, even the window is in need of repair. It's missing, broken. All this while
women are dying to get into the shelter.
Both literally and physically. Elmore could have been one of them.
Every 2 minutes, someone in the U.S. is sexually assaulted. Every 2 minutes. So that means during this interview, countless people have been sexually assaulted.
Jessie Sterner works with the Durham Crisis Response Center. She says it needs about 10 grand in order for her and volunteers like Sam Claiborne to continue to have a place to help victims.
We'll be able to save a lot more lives.
The shelter means everything to me. The shelter saved my life.
Elmore says saving more lives may be difficult if the building is just as fragile as the folks who come looking for help. Kevin Holmes, WRAL News, Durham.
Mom bought a treadmill and now she uses it to like display things. You know, it's sitting there in the middle of the den, and you know, it's handy for holding stuff and displaying
your coat right
stuff.
on one of the handles and your jacket on the other one.
Gosh, I hope she's not watching.
Well, today you'll keep that coat on the treadmill, right?
Exactly. You go.
The future of a Wake County Care Assisted Living Center, due to close on Monday, is now in limbo. The owner of the Wake Forest Care Center got a Superior Court judge to issue a 10-day stay on closing this facility, but late yesterday, the state tells WRAL that order is dissolved. Since 2009, the center has been fined more than $40,000 by the state for poor care, ranging from medication errors, patients smoking in bed, to a resident who walked away from the facility and died back in. We've covered the marches, the rallies, the protests. Today, one more. Hundreds here in Wilson County outside the courthouse. They will gather, including about 50 pastors. Those pastors support this amendment. They want to see it written into the Constitution.
Drink some milk. Come on, drink some milk.
Stay-at-home dad Alex Mancuso is raising Brooke and Chloe with his partner Anthony Puglisi. They've been together 15 years.
Which is a long time for any couple.
The couple acknowledges this may not be your typical mainstream family, but they view themselves as normal and traditional.
The way we're bringing the children up with love and caring.
There are some who don't care about recognizing their union. The proposed amendment that's gotten a lot of attention says marriage between one man and one woman is the only domestic legal union that should be valid or recognized in North Carolina. Gay marriage isn't legal in the state, but amendment supporters say the ban is needed to make sure a judge cannot redefine marriage.
Marriage is an institution that was created by God.
Many church leaders are weighing in. More than 50 pastors will be in Wilson later today to show their support for the marriage amendment. They too don't want a judge to redefine marriage.
Daddy loves you. Daddy loves you.
Meanwhile, Mancuso and Puglisi say rallies supporting the amendment won't redefine their way of life. All right, so later today here in Wilson, several folks who govern some of the churches will be here to weigh in on the matter. In about a half hour, hear from those who govern our state, including the governor and House Speaker.
The people who stopped by to visit. Wow, that must have taken a lot of time looking at that video to put that all together.
I wonder what's inside, if there's candy inside. That'd be so cool, right?
Good luck keeping the kids away from that.
Well, if you're heading to the North Carolina Zoo, you'll find more than live animals there.
That's right. Next, a closer look at the kinds of dinosaurs featured.
But here in North Carolina, the jobless rate is still higher than the national average, but it's going down. The new numbers from November show our state's rate is at 9.5%. That's 1% above the national rate. Picture perfect pictures in those magazines. Our forecast, picture perfect
day.
The debate over natural gas drilling in North Carolina is spreading. And while the state is studying the idea, some towns are already taking steps to stop it. In our area, geologists identify 5 counties as holding the potential for natural gas production. In Granville County, Creedmoor has already banned natural gas drilling. WRAL has learned Cary is also considering a ban. And you may wonder, what good would a city ordinance do if a new state law under consideration allows natural gas drilling? While state law trumps city ordinances, one mayor told Renee True cities and towns have ways to fight back.